Ren is a young orphan boy who lives on the main streets of Shibuya. One day, he accidentally stumbles upon a fantastical world filled with beasts straight out of a fairy tale. At that moment, his life does a complete 180, like a cat spotting a cucumber.
Man, I'm dead.
And he's whisked away faster than a pigeon snatching a tourist's sandwich. Imagine his surprise when he comes face to face with none other than Gruff, a warrior beast on a quest for a new apprentice. In the flourishing land of Jutengai, where even the squirrels have black belts, its longtime grandmaster is finally retiring from his post to ascend to primacy. Apparently, retirement plans come with a free upgrade to ultimate mastery. Rumor has it he's torn between becoming the Force of Zen Gardens or the patron saint of Bingo Nights. The grandmaster has led a big number of beasts for a long time, but now that he's about to retire, he announces he is looking for a successor. Strength and dignity were obvious requirements, so everyone is placing their bets on Eozen as the next grandmaster. The guy is as fearless as a kitten in a room full of cucumbers.
That was easy.
He's the respected master of several apprentices who sometimes wonder if his secret to courage involves a magical blend of coffee and pure stubbornness. Eozen is also a loving father of 2 sons, who are rumored to be training in the ancient art of how to avoid Dad's Training Sessions 101. There is pride and joy that they secretly hope he doesn't incorporate their childhood antics into his teachings. Imagine jumping off the roof and landing like a ninja as a legit move in martial arts.
Bro, what did you just say?
By contrast, his rival Kumatetsu is as rough around the edges as a hedgehog and a tumble dryer.
Shut the fuck up.
Sometimes crude, arrogant, and selfish enough to make a hermit crab look sociable. With no son to carry on his legacy and no pupils to teach, apparently How to Growl 101 wasn't a big hit. Kumatetsu's chances of claiming the Grandmaster title seem about as likely as finding a unicorn in a petting zoo.
Wow! Incredible!
Now at Shibuya City in Japan, with unkempt hair and a face that could scare a mere 9-year-old, Ren wanders the bustling streets of Shibuya like a lost penguin in a heatwave. There he sees police taking some runaway girls into their custody. Watching that, Ren starts running the busy streets to get rid of the police. After running for a while, he stops at the back alley to eat his food. While eating food, he meets a mouse-like creature named Chico and gives it some food. Chico gets scared at first, but in no time she starts munching on the free food. Ren wonders if Chico also ran away from somewhere too, commenting that he is all alone as well. Ever since his mother's passing, he's felt as connected to the world as a Wi-Fi signal in the Sahara, seeking his absent father while simultaneously perfecting the art of eye-rolling at Destiny's cruel jokes. Ren's new guardian asks Ren to come to the head family because he is their family's only boy and a precious successor. So his guardian gives him some empty words of taking good care of him, but Ren is consumed by his father's absence and asks why he hasn't come. Guardians tells Ren to forget about his father, but it makes him more and more angry and anxious. Consumed by his own anger, Ren refuses to bunk with his relatives. He tells them that he will live on his own, but they make fun of him saying a child can't do it. It gets Ren's ego, which leads him to say a bold statement that he will not only live on his own but become strong too. Ren tells his feelings that he resents all of them, including his father, and then pulls a disappearing act that would make Hugini proud.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Wandering aimlessly around the city, he witnesses children happily holding hands with their parents, which fuels his anger faster than a jet engine on rocket fuel. With all that pent-up rage burning a hole in his heart, he unleashes it by shouting at the top of his lungs that he hates everyone within earshot. The crowd stares at him as if he just recited Shakespeare in Klingon, coaxing him to skedaddle in embarrassment. But as Ren stomps away, he leaves behind a brooding shadow of himself, a dark doppelganger that echoes his words like a broken record, proclaiming its hatred for all humanity before poofing away like a disgruntled ghost. One night, Ren seeks refuge in an underpass, where his new sidekick Chico has taken up residence in his hair rent-free. The white creature he stumbled upon in an alleyway now considers Ren's head its personal penthouse suite, complete with complimentary snacks. Chico tries to motivate Ren, so seeing her effort, Ren thanks Chico and confirms to her that he is alright, but Chico knows that he is not alright, so she again tries to comfort him, but Ren ignores her. Suddenly, Chico hears some voices coming from the streets, and 2 mysterious men in cloaks are talking to each other. They talk about Kumatetsu's new apprentice running away so soon because he has no discipline and dignity. Seeing them walking near, Chico gets scared and hides in Ren's hair. Kumatetsu is apparently on a stroll alongside his companion Tatara. Tatara, never one to miss a chance for a jab, suggests that Kumatetsu could take on just about anyone or anything as an apprentice. be it a broom, a talking tea kettle, or even a human with a permanent scowl. Kumatetsu pauses, intrigued by the idea, and eyes Ren like a sushi chef's sizing up a prime tuna. Ren, caught between Chico's enthusiastic squeaks and Kumatetsu's piercing stare, contemplates whether this encounter is his big break or the beginning of an even wilder ride through the streets of Tokyo. Kumatetsu really likes Tatara's idea and decides to make Ren his apprentice, but Ren completely ignores him, so Kumatetsu tries again, and this time he hits the ground harder than before and asks if he is even alive. Hearing it, Ren tells him to shut up, revealing to Kumatetsu that Ren is alive because he can talk. Kumatetsu asks about Ren's mother, but once again Ren tells him to shut up. Then Kumatetsu asks about his dad. Ren replies with the same shut-up way. Kumatetsu tries to force Ren to tell him, but it angers Ren ever more that he starts shouting "shut up" to Kumatetsu and tells him that if he talks anything more, then he will kill him. Hearing it, Kumatetsu decides to clearly see Ren's face and moves his hands forward. Kumatetsu grabs Ren's face, and the moment Ren sees Kumatetsu's face, it's then that Ren notices Kumatetsu's facial hair situation or lack thereof. Seriously, grooming tutorials are a thing, buddy.
You weird, buddy.
Ren's bravado fizzles faster than a soda left out in the sun as he realizes he's staring down a creature straight out of a midnight horror flick. He becomes scared and calls him a beast. Tatara, sensing the impending awkwardness, nudges Kumatetsu to hit the road. But before they vanish into the shadows, Kumatetsu casually tosses out an invite for Ren to join their band of misfits. Hearing that, Tatara stops Kumatetsu and forces him to start walking. On the other hand, Ren is also surprised by Kumatetsu's invitation. Still reeling from his encounter, Ren shakes off the shock and takes off like a rocket after the two beasts. There he suddenly reaches the busy main streets of Shibuya. Ren tries to find those two beasts, wondering if it was real or not. Suddenly, two police officers notice Ren and grab his arm and ask if he ran away from home. Ren tries to set free, but he is unable to. Then the officer asks about his guardian's phone number. Hearing that makes him really scared because he doesn't want to go back. Ren gives his all and sets free from the officer's grab. He starts running and keeps running until he comes to the safe zone, just like the tactics we use in GTA to set free of police chase.
Ah, here we go again.
His mad dash leads him near a rabbit hole of an alleyway that looks like a weird dream. No melting clocks, just a lot of confused pigeons. Ren sees those two beasts again and also sees the police officers are still finding him. So he makes a bold decision and decides to go further in the back alley with Chico. He keeps walking in that unfamiliar back alley and starts seeing it as like a maze filled with eerie animals like cats, chickens, and deer, which makes Ren wonder if he's really in Shibuya or not. Afterwards, he sees some shadows and hurries to follow them. He follows the same path as the shadows, but they suddenly disappear and a horse pulls to a corner, which is actually connected to the beast's world, Jutengai. Before he knows it, Ren finds himself in the heart of Jutengai, a land where furry critters roam like they're extras in a Disney musical. Scared witless and with adrenaline dialed up to 11. Ren zigzags through this bizarre menagerie, dodging creatures that range from cuddly to I wouldn't invite that one to tea. Enter a trio of wolf-like beasts who seem to have majored in fear induction 101. They circle Ren like he's the last slice of pizza at a party, taunting him with visions of being sold off or served on a platter faster than you can say hello, nightmares. Thankfully, just when it seems Ren might faint from sheer terror, Hakushubo swoops in like a soccer mom breaking up a playground scuffle, putting a halt to the wolf pack's game of psychological warfare before it turns into a full-blown existential crisis. Hakushubo introduces himself as a monk in training and assures Ren that he has nothing to worry about, well, aside from adjusting to a world where fur and fangs are the norm. Just as Ren starts to catch his breath, Kumatetsu and Tatara make a dramatic entrance, looking as pleased as a cat who just found the cream. Kumatetsu, beaming like a proud parent at a kindergarten recital, is thrilled his apprentice has made it on his own, while Ren is as surprised as a fish finding itself in a tree to discover he's now Kumatetsu's pupil. Kumatetsu, however, couldn't care less. Ren could be a toilet brush for all he cares. An apprentice is an apprentice. He then drags Ren back to his home, much to the dismay of his friends who seem convinced that Ren's primary talent is attracting trouble. Since Ren refuses to share his name, Kumatetsu dubs him Kyuda, a pun on his age that Ren finds about as funny as a flat tire on a rainy day.
Oh!
The next morning, their mentor-apprentice relationship kicks off with a battle over breakfast, specifically raw eggs. Kyuda, channeling his inner food critic, flat out refuses to eat them. This culinary conflict quickly escalates to Kyuda, rejecting his role as an apprentice entirely and making a dramatic exit worthy of a soap opera star. While he's running from Kumatetsu while also finding the exit, Kyuta spots two children by an ice cream stand looking like they've never had a bad day in their lives.
Nice.
They are Hirohiko and Jiromaru, the sons of Grandmaster candidate Aiozan. Meanwhile, Kyuta is contemplating the unfairness of life as his own ice cream dreams remain unfulfilled. Aiozan meets his sons and asks them about their training. Hirohiko asks his father to train with his father, but he is too busy to do that. Aiozan then sees Kumatetsu, who seems to be looking for someone. Aiozan goes to meet Kumatetsu to talk about his new apprentice. Kumatetsu tells Aiozan that the kid has run off somewhere. Aiozan is surprised to hear that Kumatetsu's disciple is a child, even though Kumatetsu is quite the child itself. There, Aiozan gives advice to Kumatetsu as the father of two sons that being a parent will be a difficult task for him because he lacked experience. It really angers Kumatetsu, which leads him to not change his decision. Aiozan is surprised to find out that Kumatetsu's disciple is actually a human and quickly grows apprehensive. Aiozan again asks to confirm if he heard the right thing. Suddenly, one of Aiozan's disciples calls him because he had captured Kyuta. Aiozan and even the crowd are surprised to see Kyuta in the beast realm. But Aiozan again advises Kumatetsu to put Kyuta back from where he found him. Kumatetsu asks for the reason, so Aiozan reveals that they may not know the real reason why humans and beasts can't live in the same world. While humans are weak, they can harbor darkness in their heart which can go berserk and can't be controlled. Kumatetsu, stubborn as a mule that's taken root, refuses to budge. This leads Aiozan to raise his voice, practically shouting, "Cut Kyuta loose for the sake of Jukengai." It's as if he is auditioning for a dramatic soap opera, emphasizing every word with the intensity of a Shakespearean actor. Hearing Aiozan's voice, the public also starts gathering around them. Of course, Kumatetsu doesn't take well to Aiozan's demand, resulting in an immediate clash between the two. It's the kind of showdown that makes you wish you had popcorn. From the start, it's clear that Kumatetsu doesn't have any vocal supporters in the crowd beyond Tatara. In fact, Kumatetsu's approach to battle etiquette is so lacking, he could probably start a riot at a tea party. Meanwhile, Kyuta, who is captured by Aiozan's disciple, asks then if Aiozan and Kumatetsu is going to have a sword fight. To which the disciple tells Ren that the Grandmaster has prohibited the unsheathing of swords, so everyone's sword has their handguard tied to the sheaths so they can't be drawn. Finding an opening, Kyuta set himself free of the guard and ran away. After a rough start that looks like it might end with Kumatetsu face first in the dirt, he begins to gain the upper hand by bulking up and growing in size just as Aiozan did. It's like someone hit the inflate button on Kumatetsu, and now he's ready for sumo.
Inside low kick.
He manages to push Aiozan back, cornering him. With the crowd now cheering him on, Aiozan lets the voice of love take him higher. Apparently, channeling his inner pop star, Aiozan finds a second wind. This newfound energy helps him push back against Kumatetsu until, with a final effort, Kumatetsu stumbles and falls over. It's like watching a giant teddy bear topple, leaving the audience wondering if they should laugh or cheer. While watching the fight, Kyuta notices that nobody's cheering for Kumatetsu, making him realize how alone the beast truly is. It's like being in a sports game where everyone forgot which team they're supposed to root for. This sparks something in Kyuta, and he starts cheering Kumatetsu on, shouting encouragement that is both loud and heartfelt. Aiozan, seemingly fueled by a mix of adrenaline and dramatic flair, manages to send Kumatetsu flying just as the Lord of Jutengai finally arrives to put an end to the brawl. His entrance has the gravitas of a headmaster walking into a food fight. Kumatetsu, still sprawled out and stubborn as ever, gruffly declares that Kyuta will remain his apprentice come what may. It's a touching declaration, assuming you're into grumpy, half-conscious proclamations of loyalty. The Lord, ever the peacemaker, agrees and takes responsibility for whatever may happen. He tells the incredulous Aiozan that not all humans possess the darkness he's so worried about, as if he's delivering a heartfelt monologue in an after-school special. This leads Aiozan to ask why Grandmaster is always so easy on Kumatetsu, but Grandmaster ignores it, telling him that conversation is over. With a final wave of his hand, he dismisses everyone, leaving Aiozan to simmer and Kumatetsu to contemplate his next move from the comfort of the ground. After everything settles, Kumatetsu couldn't meet his eyes with Kyuta, and later at night, Kumatetsu comes back home and Kyuta follows him. Kumatetsu goes straight to his bed. Kyuta comes to the house and asks if Kumatetsu is strong, and Kyuta agrees to be Kumatetsu's apprentice under one condition. He wants to become as strong as the gruff beast one day. It's a classic case of if you can't beat them, join them, then beat them later. After telling his condition, Kyuta starts eating the food they left in the morning. Even though the raw eggs and rice are not delicious, he still tries to eat them. Seeing Kyuta try his hardest to eat makes him really happy, and he asks Kyuta to prepare himself because he is going to make him his disciple. The next day, Kyuta changes into Beastman's clothes and goes to the training area to meet Kumatetsu for training. Hayakushubo compliments Kyuta's new outfit. Then Kumatetsu shows Kyuta how to use a sword. His teaching is so good that Yuna's sword master will not get it. The first day of their training, however, is a spectacular failure. Imagine a ballet performed by two left-footed hippos. That's the level of coordination we're talking about. Kyuta struggles to replicate Kumatetsu's actions, looking more like he's doing interpretive dance rather than martial arts. Kumatetsu, for his part, turns out to be about as good a teacher as a goldfish. The most concrete instruction he can muster is telling Kyuta to grasp the sword that's in his heart. Great, now he needs a metaphorical sword too. When Kumatetsu realizes that Kyuta can't even grasp his instructions, he walks out on him. It's like a teacher giving up on a student after realizing they can't even handle basic algebra. Even after Kumatetsu is gone, Kyuta still tries to practice sword, but Tatara stops him and tells him to go back if he is just there for eating and sleeping, while telling him that the sword practice takes at least 5 or 10 years. The next day, Kyuta finds out that Kumatetsu is gone for 2 or 3 days. Then Kyuta asks Hayakushubo about the jobs of a disciple. So he elaborates about the jobs like cleaning, laundry, and cooking. Kyuta cleans the house while Hayakushubo tries to tell the good side of Kumatetsu. Kyuta does the laundry while getting instructions from Hayakushubo. Later in the evening, Kyuta goes to get groceries from the market. Everyone there is surprised to see a human child. At some point, Jiromaru and his friends end up cornering Kyuta, calling him a monster. Because clearly nothing builds character like a group beatdown. The beatdown is cut short by Ichiro Hiko, who convinces them that a weakling like Kyuta can't possibly become a monster. That stings worse than a jellyfish at a beach party.
What?
But at least he's helping him up. Jiromaru then tells Kyuta about how strong his brother is and asks him to show his ability. Ichiro Hiko refuses to show his abilities off, but it's not out of humility. He's following Eozen's every word like it's a step-by-step guide to becoming the beast version of a superhero, convinced that this will help him become a powerful swordsman with a long snout and great tusks one day. Upon Kumatetsu's return, he is surprised to see that his house is all clean now. He yells who did that, and Hayakushubo tells him that his disciple Kyuta did the cleaning. Kumatetsu enters the kitchen and tells Kyuta not to do unnecessary things, but then he sees Kyuta's bruises on his face and asks how he got that. After hearing the details, Kyuta calls him pitiful and asks if he is not ashamed of getting beat up. Damn! Kyuta agrees that he is weak and also pitiful. He built up his courage and decided to be blunt, asking Kumatetsu because Iwazan wakes up early, but Kumatetsu sleeps till noon. He and Kyuta are plunged straight into another argument. It's like a daily soap opera where the plot never changes. Drama, drama, and more drama. He calls Kyuta pathetic, which Kyuta admits to with the solemnity of a student owning up to forgetting their homework, but not that of firing back at Kumatetsu's own pathetic ways, like comparing a grumpy bear to a polished lord, especially when it comes to Eozen. Kumatetsu, now resembling a raging bull in a china shop, chases Kyuta around the house. It's like a comedic dance routine, with Kumatetsu as the clumsy lead. But Kyuta remains undeterred, continuing his barrage of insults like a verbal javelin thrower. Angered, Kumatetsu leaves the house with Tatara. There he bursts out his anger while Tatara again advises him to cast aside Kyuta, but suddenly the Grandmaster appears there and he gives Kumatetsu some letter of introduction. Grandmaster advises Kumatetsu to take his disciple and travel around the country to meet with the other Grandmaster using the letter of introduction. Grandmaster gives this letter to Kumatetsu so that he can understand what the real strength is. Kumatetsu is about to say something, but Grandmaster vanishes into thin air. Since the request is directly from the Grandmaster, so Kumatetsu can't decline it, and the next day they start their journey while Kumatetsu and Kyuta challenge each other in various things. They meet several Grandmasters and ask them about what real strength is, but Kumatetsu understands nothing. One night, Hayakushubo drops a truth bomb on Kyuta. Kumatetsu's rough and messy technique stems from being self-taught. He's like the ultimate DIV project gone wild, minus the instruction manual and with a lot more growling. Growing up without a parent or a master, Kumatetsu had to learn everything independently, like a lone wolf in a forest full of dictionaries. Meanwhile, Kumatetsu finds himself bothered by his shortcomings as a teacher. It's like watching someone try to teach algebra to a cat. Frustrating and mostly futile. Though Tatara believes that Kyuta should bugger off, he still advises his friend to think back to his own childhood and what he needed to understand Kyuta better. Because sometimes a little introspection goes a long way, even if you're mentoring a kid who seems to think insults are a form of greeting. While playing around with Chico the next day, Kyuta hears the voice of his mother tell him to be your master. Do as he does. It's like having a motivational ghost whisper in your ear. spooky yet oddly inspiring.
Stop it. Get some help.
While he isn't sure where the voice came from, it still hits him like a bolt from the blue. In the following days, Kyuta starts to imitate everything that Kumatetsu does, especially his footwork. It's as if Kyuta's become a mirror on legs reflecting Kumatetsu's every move. This initially irritates Kumatetsu, who wonders if Kyuta's playing a bizarre game of follow the grumpy leader. When Hayakashubo explains that Kyuta's like a baby trying to learn from his father, it's like watching a bear reluctantly admit that the duckling might actually be imitating its quacks out of love.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
Kumatetsu warms up rather giddily to the idea, even deliberately giving Kyuta movements to copy. It's like he's setting up a choreographed dance routine, with himself as the grumpy choreographer and Kyuta as the enthusiastic understudy. While Kumatetsu is minding his own business one day, Kyuta decides to playfully poke him with his broom. It's like poking a sleeping dragon with a stick and hoping it won't wake up. Spoiler alert, it does. Kyuta repeats the poking until Kumatetsu retaliates, attempting to catch him. Much to everyone's surprise, Kyuta proves to be very quick on his feet. It's as if he's got a turbo boost installed in his sneakers.
What do you mean by that?
He outmaneuvers his master with ease and telegraphs his movements like it's child's play, leaving Kumatetsu bewildered and the onlookers impressed. After that, the two embark on training together, where they learn from each other. Kyuta delves into the intricacies of fighting with both swordplay and hand-to-hand combat, honing his skills with the determination of a squirrel stashing acorns for winter.
Let's go.
Meanwhile, Kumatetsu learns the subtleties of telegraphing his opponent's movements, like deciphering a dance that only he understands and allowing these movements to guide his own. Kyuta progresses to a point where he can defend himself from Jiromaru, who now not only acknowledges his strength, but also befriends him. It's like making friends with a schoolyard bully after proving you can eat your lunch without crying.
Good job!
Time passes and Kyuta blossoms into a 17-year-old highly skilled in various combat disciplines. It's like watching a caterpillar turn into a ninja butterfly. But he's not the only one who's evolved. Over the years, Kumatetsu has refined his technique, graduating from grumpy bear to polished warrior, and even adopts proper battle etiquette. After witnessing Kyuta's remarkable transformation, the townsfolk are lining up left and right to become Kumatetsu's apprentice. It's as if he's opened a dojo with a line longer than a Black Friday sale. Still, they continue to squabble and bicker endlessly, their disagreements often culminating in their infamous chases. Picture a bear and a ninja locked in a perpetual game of tag, each one convinced they're the master of stealth and surprise. But one day, while Kyuta is evading Kumatetsu's pursuit, he unexpectedly finds himself back in the human world. Initially overwhelmed and ambivalent about his return, Kyuta isn't entirely opposed to being back. He seeks solace in a library, where he approaches a girl and asks for help reading the word whale from the book Moby Dick. Kyuta later saves her from a group of bullies, and the two become fast friends. The girl introduces herself as Cade, and Kyuta introduces himself as Ren. Cade, grateful and slightly stunned, remarks, "Wow, Ren, you're like my personal hero now. Just call me your sidekick." She helps him read better, and after seeing his willingness to learn, Cade encourages him to apply for college. Despite his hesitation, Kyuta is open to trying, and while he's taking care of his papers, he finds out where his father lives. Kyuta and his father meet purely by chance outside of a shop. As they awkwardly embrace, Kyuta quips, "Well, Dad, good thing we both have terrible luck, or we might never have found each other." There, he discovers that since his parents were divorced, it took a long time before his father found out that his ex-wife passed away. After that, he looked everywhere for Kyuta, even when the police had given up. After their meeting, Kyuta finds himself at a crossroads with the path that he should take, wondering if a normal life is even in the cards for him. He returns to Judengai to speak with Kumatetsu. He has already beaten him to the punch. Kumatetsu, holding up the book with a bemused expression, remarks, "You've been hiding this under your mattress like it's some treasure map to adulthood." That's when Kyuta drops the bombshell. He wants to go to a human school. With Kumatetsu being as brash and hot-headed as ever, Kyuta walks out on him, but not before admitting that he finally met his father and that he's just decided to live with him from now on. Kumatetsu tries to run after Kyuta, telling him not to go. Kyuta still leaves. Distraught by Kyuta's departure, Kumatetsu quickly regresses to his former self. Hayakashubo shakes his head sadly, muttering to Tatara, "Looks like we've got a bear-sized emotional meltdown on our hands." He explains to Tatara how hard this is for him, especially when he's considered himself to be Kyuta's father in Jutengai. Back in Shibuya, Kyuta's father tries to make up for lost time. He's willing to take things slow and follow his son's lead, but Kyuta's conflict within himself remains. After lashing out at his father, he walks away from him just as he did with Kumatetsu. Thoughts of his father in the human world and his father in the beast world plague him, and soon Kyuta finds himself in the same busy street in Shibuya where he had his first outburst. Great, I'm having a reunion with my inner angst. Kyuta mutters to himself, eyeing the dark construct of his resentment. When the construct turns to face him, Kyuta sees a hole in its chest before watching it disappear. He tries to look around for the darkness, only to find it in his reflection with the large, gaping hole where his heart should be. Terrified by what he's become, Kyuta runs away until he finds Keed outside the library. But plagued by the identity crisis bug, Kyuta asks Keed what he is, if he's a human, a beast, or a monster. Feels like he is stuck in a bizarre quiz show with no right answers. She assures him that everything's going to be okay and shares that even she has times where her heart feels like it's filled with anger. Kyuta calms down and she gives him the red bookmark she wears around her wrist, hoping that it will help him just as it's helped her. Kyuta returns to Jutengai and Jironoru invites him to his home, where he discovers that the fight between Eozen and Kumatetsu is tomorrow. Ichirohiko shows up to escort Kyuta to the gate, and without any warning, Ichirohiko begins hitting Kyuta while insulting both him and his master. Well, that's one way to say hello. Kyuta mutters under his breath, rubbing his sore spots. To his surprise, Kyuta sees the same hole in Ichirohiko's chest just before the troubled boy walks away. The event takes place in Jutengai's Coliseum, and it kicks off with the Grandmaster making the announcement that we've been waiting for. After 9 long years of thinking, he finally settled on being the force of decisiveness. Looks like someone finally took a side in the Eternal Debate Club. Cuban remarks quietly to himself, unable to resist a touch of skepticism. As soon as the match begins, Kumatetsu buffs himself up and starts his reckless charges towards Eozen. Eozen parries Kumatetsu's lunges with ease and quickly manages to down him with his sheathed sword. The referee starts counting down, and as the rules state, if the candidate is down for 10 seconds, he loses. Kyuta decides to wait until the referee reaches 9 before finally deciding to make his presence known. Why the referee didn't finish his counting, we don't know. All that matters is Kyuta is there to give his second father some encouraging words. So naturally, he calls Kumatetsu an idiot and yells at him to get up. This lights Kumatetsu's fire right up.
Now, I'm really mad!
And they bicker back and forth again, until Kumatetsu gets up on his feet with a mighty roar. The match continues and he's able to retrieve his fallen sword. With Kyuta guiding him and cheering him on every step of the way, Kumatetsu fights Eozen with vigor and polish, eventually breaking the sheath covering Eozen's sword and sending it flying, piercing the Grandmaster's chair. One last punch. Kyuta cries out and Kumatetsu delivers. Eozen falls, unmoving on the ground, and when the 10th second passes, Kumatetsu is announced as the winner. The crowd cheers, but Kumatetsu's focus is fixed solely on Kyuta. They reconcile with a low 5, and just when it seemed that things couldn't get better, well, they didn't. Suddenly, Ichirohiko uses his telekinesis to plunge Eozen's sword right into Kumatetsu's back. He gives an unhinged spiel about winning the battle with his power and his father's sword, all while the hole in his chest reveals itself. A dark construct of his hand forms around the sword's hilt. With the darkness from his heart, Ichirohiko plunges the sword even deeper into Kumatetsu's back, making him fall. This sends Kyuta into a flurry of rage. His own darkness shows, and through his anger, his sword unsheathes and comes flying towards Ichirohiko. Watch out for the sharp, pointy end. Shiko is quick to direct Kyuta's attention to his wrist, where he sees Keed's red string wrapped around it. This snaps him out of his trance, and the sword falls right before it could hit Ichirohiko. Kyuta collapses to his knees, exhausted from the ordeal. Well, that escalated quickly. Ichirohiko sneers, his dark aura swirling ominously. You call that a sword? It's more like a butter knife. Kyuta retorts, summoning a burst of humor amidst the tension. With the darkness fully consuming him, he disappears while Kyuta passes out. Perhaps he mistook a shadow for a comfy bed and went for a nap. After some time, Kyuta wakes up to find his heavily injured master still unconscious, snoring louder than a sumo wrestler after a feast. Meanwhile, Eozen reveals that Ichirohiko is actually a human. Plot twist is bigger than finding out your pet goldfish is actually a secret agent.
What?
He found him in the human realm, abandoned in an alleyway as a baby. Eozen took him in and raised him as his own, but in doing so he gave his adopted son the false hope that he will one day be like him with his long snout and mighty tusks. Imagine Ichirohiko trying to wiggle his nose like Eozen, adorably awkward.
You know what? I love myself. Even though I look like a burnt chicken nugget, I still love myself.
Ichirohiko began to doubt himself and what he even was as he grew up, who existential crisis music in the background, just another day in the life of a confused hero. letting the darkness fester within him like an untreated wound. Seriously, someone get this guy some emotional Neosporin. Kyuta overhears this conversation and resolves to pursue Ichiro Hiko, because running after emotionally conflicted friends is totally his cardio for the day, despite the protests of Hyakushubo and Tatara, who have both grown to care deeply for him. They probably think Kyuta's on a quest for the best ramen spot in town. Not a soul-saving mission. But Kyuta makes it clear that he's not out for vengeance. Instead, he feels responsible to save Ichiro Hiko from his darkness because it's the same one that lives inside him. Talk about bonding over shared existential crisis. Kyuta's got enough darkness to rival a galaxy. The only reason that he didn't turn out like him was because of the ones who took care of him. And for that, he thanks Hyakushubo and Tatara. They're now on his speed dial for emotional support emergencies. He leaves Kumatetsu in their care before returning to the human world, hoping Kumatetsu doesn't rearrange her furniture. Kyuta meets up with Key to give her his copy of the Moby Dick because nothing says I care about you like a hefty dose of whale obsession, just in case anything happens to him, like being chased by a guy with a chest-sized black hole. Ichiro Hiko shows up, still with a large dark hole in his chest, the latest in avant-garde fashion statements, and begins to chase after the two. Seriously, can't we resolve conflicts with a game of rock, paper, scissors?
No! God, please, no! No!
The two engage in a short-lived sword fight as Ichiro Hiko proceeds to attack with enlarged arms instead. Who needs swords when you can give bear hugs from a distance? This sends Kyuta flying like a poorly aimed kite in a windstorm.
Perfect.
And Key helps him up so they can leave the area, heading straight for the nearest emotional recovery cafe.
Okay.
Ichiro Hiko picks the discarded book up and reads the word whale from it before tossing it aside and leaving, apparently not a fan of classic literature, more of a haiku guy. As the residents of Shibuya go about their lives, they spot the huge shadow of a whale on the ground and talk about unexpected street art. Part of the shadow takes a solid form like Ichiro Hiko's enlarged arms did, causing a number of cars and trucks to crash into one another. Well, there goes Shibuya's insurance premiums for the year. Keed takes Kyuta's hand and escapes with him through a subway because, when in doubt, runs underground like a professional mole person.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Left with no other options, Kyuta decides that the only thing he can do is to use the emptiness inside him to take in Ichiro Hiko's darkness and seal it away, because nothing says heroic sacrifice like DIY soul containment. A plan that will ultimately result in his own death. Ever wonder why heroes always have to be so dramatic? Couldn't he just retire to a beach somewhere with a good book and a nice drink? Back in Jutengai, the still injured Kumatetsu insists on helping Kyuta, no matter what, because nothing says friendship goals like risking life and fur for your buddy. It turns out that Kumatetsu wants to be reincarnated as a god.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Surprising the other beasts, who are probably wondering if there's a deity application form they missed. But because Kumatetsu is now the Lord of Jutengai, he can, and without any shred of hesitation, he will do it for Kyuta. Kyuta and Keed find themselves near the National Yoyogi Arena before arriving at a dead-end, typical hero move, always ending up in the most picturesque spots.
A few moments later.
Ichiro Hiko is hot on their heels, appearing behind them as soon as they stop running. Seriously, does this guy teleport in his spare time? The two of them try to run away, but the projection of the whale keeps blocking their path when your roadblock is literally a giant cetacean. Talk about a traffic jam. Kyuta moves Keed out of the way, then stands before the whale, opening up the vacuum in his heart to take in Ichiro Hiko's darkness, because who needs therapy when you can absorb cosmic angst?
Stop it. Get some help.
Just as the vacuum was beginning to absorb the dark energy, a flaming blade lands between the two of them, stopping the whale in its tracks, because nothing says plot twists like a flaming sword interrupting your soul absorption session. Hyakushubo, Tatara, and the other beasts of Jutengai are there, and Hyakushubo explains that the burning sword is the reincarnation of Kumatetsu. Move over, Excalibur. There's a new fiery hero in town. He wished to be reborn as the soul that's in Kyuta's heart, talking about eternal commitment. Kumatetsu takes mentorship to a whole new level. This is in reference to what he told the boy when they first began training, telling him to grasp the sword that's in his heart, a metaphorical journey that's now quite literal. The sword fills the hole in Kyuta's chest, and he begins to shed tears as memories of his master play in his head. Cue emotional montage, sniffles galore. But because he and Kumatetsu are one now, he can still hear his voice coming from inside him, telling him to stop crying even in the afterlife. Mentors still give tough love. With unwavering resolve, Kyuta gets ready to end the battle. He charges forth with his unshed sword, and with one fluid motion, he and Kumatetsu manage to defeat Ichirohiko, because every epic battle needs a hero charge and a dramatic finish. The construct of the whale disappears, and Ichirohiko passes out nap time for brooding villains. Kyuta removes his makeshift bracelet and wraps it around Ichirohiko's wrist, saying that both of them are one and the same. They are raised by beasts, and the children of beasts talk about family reunions at the zoo. After some time passes, Ichirohiko wakes up in a foreign bedroom with his mother, father, and brother by the foot of his bed. He has no recollection of the fight, and his last memory dates back to when they entered the stadium together. Plot twist: memory loss, the ultimate villain's perk. He recognizes the string on his wrist as Kyuta's bracelet, and it is implied that they are all in the human world who knew wristbands could carry so much emotional weight. Kyuta stands alone on top of the building where he bantered lightheartedly with Kumatetsu, who's now a voice inside of him, the best kind of inner dialogue. With a content smile, Kyuta tells him to keep quiet and watch what he'll do from there, because even in retirement, heroes never really stop planning. In the Beast Kingdom, they're holding a celebration for Kyuta's victory party animals, literally. Kid joins them and returns Kyuta's book, then gives him an entrance exam application form for college because even heroes need backup plans. Kyuta decides to go through with the application and live out the rest of his days in the human world with his father years to adulthood, where college apps and saving worlds go hand in hand. After leaving Jukengai, Kyuta never picked up a sword again until retirement suits him. Still, there is no stronger swordsman than him, for he carries the sword that is Kumatetsu in his heart, because legends never die, they just become heartwarming bedtime stories. While Chiko watches Kyuta study, the voice of his mother can be heard saying that she's so happy for him because every hero deserves a proud mom moment.